So we are looking at quantities, units, and formulas. And if you remember back at the beginning of the year, we started looking at quantities and units, right? We had distance was meters, time was seconds, all of those things. Okay, so we're revisiting some of them. We might be adding a few more. So if you remember, our quantity was distance, and we could abbreviate it with the symbol lowercase d. The unit for distance was meters, and we could abbreviate it with the letter M. Is that all sounding familiar? Okay, good. Time, the quantity is time, and it's abbreviated T. The unit is seconds, and it's abbreviated S, and we know that one already, yes? Everyone remember those ones? Good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add in a Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in a formula. Okay? Now, a formula, you might know, do you guys know the speed formula? Speed is equal to distance over time. Now, in science class, often instead of speed, we will use the word velocity. Ooh, velocity. So velocity has the symbol V. Velocity. There is a slight difference between the word speed and velocity, and if you take Physics 11, you will learn that difference. You will not learn it this year. But here is a formula. Stop talking while I'm talking, please. Velocity is equal to the distance over the time, or we can simplify that because you don't want to be writing out all those letters all the time. V equals d over t. This is actually not one of the formulas that we'll be using in electricity, but we're using it at first because they are quantities you are familiar with, right? You know about distance, you know about time, you know about how speed works. And we are going to learn what I call the CUBS method of solving problems. Okay, this will serve you in good stead if you take any physics courses in the future. Okay? So look, what are these little cubs doing? Existing. They have little questions over their heads. They are guessing. And every letter in CUBS stands for a step. Okay? Every letter in CUBS stands for a step. So G stands for given. G stands for given. U stands for unknown. E stands for equation. S stands for solve. The second S stands for substitute. So we have G, U, E, S, S. And then we have C stands for calculation. U stands for units. B stands for box. And then the final S either stands for stop or for sig figs if you're doing the enriched stuff. Okay? Now, what the heck is all of this? When you have a question, G, you will be given some information in the question. And the first thing that we do, step one, is to write down everything you are given in the question. And then the second thing, U, is to write down what is the unknown. What is the question asking for? What are you given and what is being asked for? What is the given? What is the unknown? The second thing you're going to do is write the equation. I really wish I could call it a formula, but CUBS does not make any sense and guess CUBS does. Yes? So we're going to call it an equation, but the equation is simply a formula. Okay? We're going to do a little bit of algebra, not today, but on some other days. We're going to learn how to solve for the unknown using the equation. All right, and then we're going to substitute in information from the question. And we're just going to stop there for the moment and go on to an example so you can see it in action. Okay? So, here is a... Why do I have that? There we go. Okay. Oh, I know why, because we have a question here. We have an example. Silly me. So this is on page 26 still, and we have a question right here. What is the average velocity so whenever you see the question words, question word, that is your unknown. What information are you given in the question? Read through the question and tell your partner, what information am I given in that question? We are given 20 meters, and we're given 5 seconds. So this is given, and this is given. You will actually get marks for writing the following. For G, you will get marks if you write down, what is meters measuring? Meters is measuring distance. What's the symbol for distance? D. So you'll get a mark for writing D is equal to 20.0 meters. Tell your partner what the next thing you would write is. There's another given to write down. What's the other given that you're going to write down? T equals 5.0. T equals 5.0, and you are absolutely right. You have to include the unit, the seconds. Okay, so we do need to make sure we include the units. So for this, when I'm marking these questions, I'm going to mark them out of like 100 billion marks. You're going to get a mark for the D, you're going to get a mark for the 20, you're going to get a mark for the M. You're going to get a mark for the T, mark for the 5.0, mark for the S. So literally, you've gotten 6 marks and you've hardly done anything. Yes? But you're building a good habit that will serve you well in the future. Yes?
You have to add the 20.0.
You only need to add the 20.0 if you're planning on doing the enriched stuff. Okay, because it will become important. Sig figs. Yeah. Shh. Unknown. What do you think you're going to... Dylan, come sit over here, please. What are you going to write down for your unknown? What do you think? Velocity, okay? So what symbol do we use for velocity? V. So we're going to write down V. Then what? Equals. And then we don't know. So we're going to just put a question mark, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we are going to write down our equation. You will be given a sheet of equations and you just have to pick the right one. If you wish to do an enriched thing where you memorize them, you can do that, but you can just use the equation sheet. In this case, our equation is this one right here. V equals D over T. V equals D over T. So we've written our given, G, unknown, U, equation, E. You have now gotten 8. You've gotten 9 marks, and you haven't even gotten close to solving the equation yet, okay? 9 marks. We have to solve the... Micah, could you go sit beside Nick, please? Okay. Oh, Ananya's sitting there. Could he sit beside you? Would that be okay? Thank you very much. I forgot Ananya was there. I was just like, there's an empty seat. Yay. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Solve for the unknown. What that means is when you solve, you need the unknown to be 1. It needs to be on the left-hand side. So it needs to be on the left side. It needs to be by itself. Actually, did I do that in the right order? No, I did not. Sorry. It needs to be on the top. It needs to be on the left-hand side. And the third thing it needs to be is by itself. What is wrong with me? Try that again. By itself. Now, let's take a look. Is the B on the top? Yes. Now, it's maybe hard for you to see that necessarily. It might not be the most easy thing, but you can imagine that there's a little over 1 here. Yeah? So each side has a top and a bottom. Each side has a what? Side. Top and a bottom. Okay, even though we don't have anything really with the B, we can pretend it's over 1. Well, it is over 1, okay? So is B on the top? Yes. Is it on the left side of the equal sign?
Yes.
Yes. Is it by itself?
Yes.
Yes. So we don't have to solve anything. We're going to worry about that another day. So we can just leave it as it is. And then all you do is you take the D and plug it in where the D is, and you take the T, time, and you plug it in where the time is. So what you're going to do now is you're going to say equals, and instead of D, you're going to write 20.0 meters. And instead of T, you're going to write 5. Now, are we just going to write 5?
No. 0.
We're going to write 5.0. Are we just going to write 5.0?
Yes.
S. Because it's science class, we always need our units beside our numbers. Yeah? And now, so that was, we did solve. This was substitute. You're substituting in the numbers with their units. This was substitute. So that's guess. And now we're down into CUBS. We're going to do the calculation. You may want to bring a calculator from now on. How many people do not have a calculator at home, cannot bring one? Okay, I can probably find 4 or 5 calculators. The rest of you, you must bring a calculator. Got it? Okay.
Scientific calculator?
No, just adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing.
Okay.
That's all we need. Okay?
A scientific one.
If you can find a scientific one, that's fine too. Either way is good. Okay? Shh. What are we calculating? What numbers will we use? 20 divided by 5. What is 20 divided by 5?
4.
4. Now, if you are doing significant figures, when we multiply or divide, sig figs, this is just for those people who are interested. When we multiply or divide, we round the number to the smallest number of sig figs in the question. Okay, so if you're like, what the heck does that mean? What it means is how many sig figs are there in 20.0? 3 sig figs. How many are there in 5.0? 2 sig figs. And so out of 2 and 3, which is a smaller number? 2. So we want our answer to have 2 sig figs. 4.0. And what is our unit here?
Second.
Hang on a second. Let's take a look. What is our unit?
Oh, wait.
It's meters over
Second.
seconds. So you just look and say, what is the unit? It's meters over seconds. So our unit is meters per second. We're also, so that is, C is calculate, U is units, calculate, units. What does B stand for? B stands for put a box around your final answer. And then the final S, because it's CUBS, stands for either stop at a reasonable number of digits. If you did this and you answered 4, would that be 4 meters per second? Would that be okay? Yes. If you wrote 4.0 meters per second, would that be okay? Yes. If you wrote 4.00 meters per second, would that be okay? Yeah. If you started getting more zeros than that, it would start to look a little stupid, yes? Because you'd be like, where did all those zeros come from? But if you want the enriched credit, you're going to have 2 sig figs, okay? But if you're not having the enriched credit, you can go to any reasonable number of digits. Don't give me 20, usually don't give me 1, although in this case it would be okay because it's an exact number, right? And that is how we do that question. And we're going to do one more example and you're done, okay? Here's a different set of units. If you remember, volume is V, liters is L. Does anyone know the formula for density? Oh, sorry. Volume is V, liters is L. Mass is measured in meters or sorry, mass is M and it's measured in kilograms. Density, capital D. We are now on page 28. 28, 28. So density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. Okay, so that is our formula or our equation. I would like you to read through this question, and I would like you to start by finding your given and your unknown in the question and see if you can write them down. What is the density of rubbing alcohol if 2.5 liters of alcohol has a mass of 1.97 kilograms? See if you can write down the given. Mass is kilograms. Volume is liters. If you get stuck, look for the question word. What is it asking you about?
The density.
What is the density? So where it says unknown here, you can say the density, which is capital D, is equal to, and it's unknown, so what do we write? Question mark. What information are we given in the question? 2.5 liters. So we have something is equal to 2.5 liters. What is that something? Hang on. No, we're measuring a quantity. What quantity is equal to 2.5 liters? Is it the distance that's equal to 2.5 liters? It's the volume that's equal to 2.5 liters. We also have 1.97 kilograms. So something is equal to 1.97 kilograms. What is that something? What are we measuring when we use kilograms? Mass. So that's going to be, what's the symbol for mass? M. So now we know what V is, we know what M is, and we're trying to find D. Do we have an equation that relates V and M and D? Yes, it's right here. So D is equal to M divided by V. D is equal to M divided by V. Could I use a capital M? No, so I'm going to make that look more like a little m. Could I use a lowercase v? No, they have to be the right upper or lowercase. Okay? What comes after G-U-E? We have G-U-E and then S, solve. And remember, we need it on the top. We need the unknown on the top by itself and on the left. Is it on the top? Is D on the top?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it by itself? Yes. Is it on the left? Yes. Okay, so we don't have to do that. Now we have another S that stands for substitute. What are we substituting? M and V. So we're going to write D equals. And instead of M, what will we write now? Instead of M, we will write oh my God, you guys are killing me. I've literally highlighted it for you. Instead of M, you will write 1.97 kilograms. Instead of V, we will write 2.5 liters. So GUESS. What comes after guess? Guess who? CUBS. What does C stand for? Calculate. What are we calculating? The number. So what would we plug into our calculator? Tell me, what should I put? Punch. 1.97 divided by 2.5. And I get 0.788. What does U stand for? U stands for units, which is going to be, you just look and say, what did I have? I have kilograms over liters. So my unit is the kilogram over the liter. What does B stand for? Box. We're going to box our answer. And what does the last S stand for? Either stop at a reasonable number of digits. Is 0.788 reasonable? Yeah, it's not like 0.783324 blah, blah, blah. 3 or like, anywhere from 2 to 4 digits is reasonable. Yes. What if we wanted to do sig figs instead? We would say we have how many sig figs in 1.97? 3 sig figs. How many in 2.5? 2 sig figs. So how many should we have in our answer? 2 sig figs. Does it round to? Now, how many would 2 be? 0. Remember, this 0 is not a sig fig. 0.79 because it rounds. Remember your rounding rules? So this would be, the enriched would be 0.79 kilograms per liter. Okay? Now, you're not going to do any of this for homework because you need to study for your quiz. You're making up your sheet and you're studying for your quiz. We'll come back and revisit this tomorrow. Okay? Hi. Yeah. Thank you.